Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem, a postmortem of my Blitz game number 504. I had the white pieces and kicked off with e4. My opponent played e6, the French defense, and we get a couple of normal moves, and up to move 2.5 or 3 there. And now he plays a somewhat rare move, knight c6, although you see it's not totally unheard of. It was just new to me. The main moves are knight f6, which is classical, bishop b4, which is the win hour, and d takes e4, the Rubinstein, but knight c6. And I didn't recognize this during the game, but actually there's an idea with knight c6. So there's kind of a lesson here. When your opponent plays an unusual move, you should really look to see if you can figure out what the idea is. And the idea is actually pressure on d4. He's got the queen and the knight already trained on d4. And in fact, there's already a threat. If he were to, if I did nothing, maybe moved a pawn or something, he could take my e-pawn and open up this attack on the d-pawn. When I take back, he can just grab it. So he's actually threatening to win a pawn right in this position. And I just played a developing move. I wasn't really, I didn't notice that threat, and I was just lucky in a way that the move I chose, knight f3, happens to defend against it because it defends this pawn. But I really should have paused to think a little bit more. Now my opponent plays g6. Okay, we're out of the opening book here. Kind of single-mindedly going after that pawn. Let's see if let's look at the opening book for a second. Okay, the normal way to continue here would be knight f6, and then we'd kind of transpose back into, it looks like, classical French lines. Although with the knight on c6, that's a bit unusual. Usually you want the c-pawn free, but it looks like that's a playable line. Anyway, bishop g7, bit rare, but with the idea of continuing to pile on the pressure onto d4, and we'll see actually this. There's a point in the game where that's a useful thing. All that pressure on d4. There was a place where actually black could have taken advantage of that pressure on d4. But let's see. I continue developing. We'll get to that when we get there. He goes bishop g7. Just keep that d4 square in mind. I play e5. And he goes knight g to e7, so right here we are just doing developing. But at this point I started to think, and I thought it was somewhat peculiar the way he was playing. It's a bit of an unusual plan. Now you see the engine thinks it's not totally horrible, but it already is suggesting h4 and g4 as possibilities. G4 is what I ended up playing. The idea with g4 is to keep the knight out of this f4 square and prevent him for the moment from increasing the pressure on this d4 pawn. Keep the knight out of f5, rather. G4, keep the knight out of f5. Let's see. There was one point earlier I thought it was kind of interesting where right after g6, knight f3, g6, already right here the chess engine is suggesting h4 can be played. Maybe here. Okay. Now I guess it was after move 4 I noticed that so a very early h4 is actually plausible in a situation like this. Kind of funny, but remember when your opponents put a pawn on g6, it's just one step closer to that h4 h5 attack. So those attacks can come pretty quickly. Okay, let's go back to where we were. He played bishop e2. Oh no, I went bishop e2. He went bishop g7. I went e5. He went knight g7. And now I pushed on with h4 or g4, indulging in this kingside attack, which apparently is entirely appropriate in this position because of the way that black has played. It's not my usual style, so I'm a little bit at sea as far as how you play these positions. Normally I like to get all my pieces out, developed, and then try and get something going. But well, it seemed that this was the type of position where you needed to activate your pawns immediately and just go for the attack. So he castled into it. He castled here, and I pushed on with h4, which is the right move, and now he plays f6. So another kind of instructive point. This f6 freeing move is very common in the French defense, and white almost always takes. And one idea of taking is that it leaves this e-pawn somewhat backwards and can come under attack. And also, if this pawn is left there for a moment, it can sneak past and kind of close things up by going to f5. So typically you will see this exchange happening in the French. And bishop takes back. And now I played pawn to g5, kicking the bishop again. That's an inaccurate move. I should actually continue with h5. Continuing in this vein, notice that He can't really push his pawn onto g5 because I've got two pieces trained on that square, the knight and the bishop, and so I can just take that pawn off. So I'm going to open up a line one way or another. It is a bit uncomfortable for me to play like that. Like I said, I have there's still two pieces that need to be developed before I can castle queenside, and I certainly don't want to castle kingside in this position. But in this particular case, that's the way this position should be played. When I play g5, this helps black. It closes up the position in a way, and it also opens up this f5 square for the knight to hop into. So I've gone from where it was better to where black is a little bit better just in that one move. But I do get to finish my development. I go bishop e3, he goes knight f5, and I go queen d2, finishing my development. But this is the move. So let's back up. And this is the point I mentioned earlier in the game. There's a flaw with this move queen d2, and has something to do with black's control of the d4 square. So from this position, see if you can figure out what's wrong with queen d2 and how can black exploit it. Okay, pause the video if you want some time to think about it. I'm giving the answer away now. I played queen d2, and what he can do is play e5 right here and bust open the center. He didn't play this, but this is very typical to meet an attack on the wing with a counterattack or a counter thrust in the center. So it's something that should always be in your thought processes, both when you're attacking and when you're defending, that consider these pushes in the center. So e5, let's see, if I take right away, he can just push on with d4. And now you see the point of the d4 control. He's got three pieces on it, and I'm actually losing a piece here because of this fork. So that would have been a short game. This was a short game anyway, but in the other direction. And after e5, if I take with the knight, he can just trade the knight off and still push on with d4. He's still got three pieces trained on that, and that fork is just going to win material for white. So that's how, or win material for black. So that's how he should have played. Instead, he played a developing move, bishop d7. So two moves in a row, my queen d2 and his bishop d7. Both sides played fairly normal-looking developing moves, but it's really ignoring the tactical situation on the board, and just goes to show why you can't rely on general principles to guide your play. You really have to think about each position and what's going on in it. Anyway, since he's given me this break here, that allows me to castle queenside, and the position is about even. And immediately he makes a mistake here with knight b4. This just gives me a tempo because the knight isn't going anywhere from e4. I kick it with h3. The knight drops back. It's also not really relevant. Any queenside demonstration by black is not relevant to what's going on. The action is in the center and on the king side in this game, and that's really where black should be thinking. I push on with h5, and now I get some open lines. He goes knight e3, trading off this attacking bishop. And after I take with a pawn, he has the idea of winning one of these pawns around his king by sacrificing the exchange. It's an interesting idea, but it's not quite correct in this position. I still, even with one pawn over here, I still have enough force because I have a rook coming in easily, and he's giving up another defender around his king. So this goes, let's see, if he didn't play that move, I have an edge. He should probably play a defensive move like bishop e8. I think g takes h5 is a little too risky, but bishop e8, and with a move like that, he can hold on for a bit longer. I can take, and he can take back with the bishop, but still with an edge to white. Okay, instead he took the knight, and so he's given up the exchange. He grabs his pawn in front of his king, but well, I get another piece over with tempo, and now his queen has to retreat back somewhere, has to go back here, or possibly to f5. The move he played puts the queen in a very tight spot, and notice it has no escape from there. So all of these squares are covered by my pieces, and or blocked by his pieces. So after I play h takes g6, there's no moves for his queen, and he resigned here. So kind of a short game, but I thought a couple of interesting points there. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.